Let's go, Steelers Nation. You know what time it is. Arthur Moats. And you see a familiar face. Yes, Mark Bergin back in the building. We know he is the host of the producer for WRAL Channel 5 in Raleigh, North Carolina, along with being the host of the Bleav In Steelers podcast. And man, since the last time we've talked, there's been a lot of updates going on around Steelers Nation and specifically around this here quarterback position. But I figured, man, we'll start with some of the new stuff. Shedeur Sanders recently took a top 30 visit to the black and gold, has everybody focusing in on him now. And we know some other stuff that we'll get into in terms of the Saints and stuff like that. But I wanted to start with you, man, and just get your thoughts on Shedeur, the top 30 visit, and this new interest that we're seeing spike up from the Steelers to that quarterback right now.
Arthur, thank you for having me first off. I'm glad we're getting right into Shedeur.
He's
not going to be there at 21. Let's stop fooling ourselves, man. He's not going to be there at number 21. I promise you. Could he slide? Sure. But
some chances.
Do you want to go through the draft order? Let's just do this. All right.
There are some chances. Come on, man.
Cam Ward, Titans, number 1. We already know that. The Browns at number 2. Look, Travis Hunter is a fine prospect. What the Browns are doing at quarterback is just as laughable as Pittsburgh.
I would agree.
The Giants, you're cool with Russell Wilson, Jameis, and Tommy DeVito. So maybe he goes there, but I think Abdul Carter is the odds-on favorite. But I'm going to go through some other teams that you don't hear about where it's like the quarterback that you have in place isn't going to win you a Super Bowl. Is Shedeur? Maybe, maybe not, but there's an unknown there. The Raiders at 6 with Geno Smith, I think, would be a perfect fit.
They just paid him. He just got the new money.
But he's got the relationship with Brady, and you don't have to start right away. I know that's a wasted pick at 6 then. I disagree for how many people who have sat and how Shedeur could develop under Geno Smith. Fine if it's not the Raiders. If they insist with going with G&T at 6, fine.
At
go ahead.
6, though? Could you imagine sitting the 6th overall pick for at least a year? I think that's a tough ask. At least a year.
So trade back then. The Saints at 9. Derek Carr's got this mystery phantom injury. But no, we don't want Shedeur. Okay, let's go beyond 9 because this is where it gets interesting. This is where Pittsburgh gets into the mix.
I'm ready to hear this. Heck yeah.
No one's talking about the Dolphins at 13, and I know Tua's under contract for several more years.
Like Tua? You're not a Tua guy? Come on.
Okay.
Mark.
Even if you are a Tua guy, Arthur, he doesn't stay healthy.
This is very true.
He's one concussion away from being done.
Yeah, this is also very true. Very true.
That conversation is not being talked about. I mean, I could go with the Cowboys at 12 if I would be really nasty. But the Colts at 14, Richardson and Danny Dimes, all of these.
But think about you just took Richardson. Was that top 10? Was that 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago? Yeah.
Still on the rookie deal. It's why the Panthers aren't in the mix either. All of the teams I just made, though, a year from now, 2 years from now, are going to be doing the same thing over again. Now, if you want to make the argument, well, next year's draft class is much stronger, fine. But all of the teams I just made, if I'm a betting man, aren't going to go win the Super Bowl. So why would you not why wouldn't you consider Shedeur more? I think if Shedeur slides past the Saints at 9, that's where Pittsburgh has to get into the mix to potentially trade up from 21. To think that Shedeur is still going to be there at 21, I think, is just foolish. And I don't understand why we're still going through this. There's going to be a mystery team out there. Think about what the Falcons did a year ago, drafting Michael Penix, where that came out of nowhere. That came out of nowhere.
But also,
there's going to be another team that wants
how
Shedeur.
We all reacted to that, though, Mark. We all reacted to the Falcons doing that. What are you doing? And now we see the ramifications of that a year later. They got Kirk Cousins' balloon contract, but you stuck trying to figure out, is he going to be one of the highest paid backups in NFL history? Or is somebody going to trade for him and take this contract? I don't think teams are jumping at the opportunity to be in that situation again. And I just think that when you look at Shedeur in some of these quarterback situations, them restructuring Derek Carr in New Orleans makes me feel like, why would you do that where you're guaranteeing him another 2 years in money? And then go and take Shedeur now you kind of got that same situation, not as pricey as Atlanta with Kirk Cousins, but you still can run into that same situation. Miami, Tua, I'm with you in terms of the injury part, but the problem is you just paid Tua how much money? And he has so much still guaranteed on that. That's the part where, once again, it's like, are we planning for him to get hurt again? And I know with Tua, I think that's the best one that I've heard thus far. Shout out to you on that, because not a lot of people have brought up the Tua in the Dolphins situation. But to me, I'm like, man, what if Tua does stay healthy though? Tua is a guy that he's a 4,000-yard passer. He could do that. We know he can light it up down there. I just don't know if you're trying to invest a top 15 pick to come and sit at least for a year.
It's like,
uh-oh.
I like Mike McDaniel as a coach, but it just hasn't worked to this point. It hasn't worked to this point. This is also true. I mean, Tyreek Hill wants out. They've got trade rumors with Jalen Ramsey. It's like it hasn't worked. Like it hasn't worked. Yeah. So like these are the teams I'm identifying. And here's another thing we haven't mentioned to this point either. The teams that I just mentioned, like say a Cleveland or the Giants, could eventually trade back in as well.
Yes, very true.
So that's something you also have to keep in mind. For the need that you need at the
Cleveland and those teams, they picking early in the second round. That's still going to have a lot of value when you're talking about trading back into the end of the first round or middle of the first round. Absolutely.
Like, what's Cleveland doing? Like, I mean, I can say the same thing about.
They got Joe Flacco, man. They got Joe Flacco. Him and
Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Arthur, there's something I wanted to ask you. Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Are there any other teams with worse quarterback rooms at this moment in time that I can obviously change?
I was about to say,
are there any other teams that I'm missing? Like I've gone through just like looking at all the teams in the league and I'm just like, they're bottom 5.
You're right, because most teams have somebody. Even if you were to bring up, okay, Jacksonville, you still like, Trevor Lawrence. On paper, you feel more confident in Trevor than you do Mason Rudolph or Skylar Thompson right now. If you bring up Arizona, it's like Kyler Murray. You talk about Seattle, Sam Darnold is coming off of a better 1-year version than Mason or Skylar Thompson. So, as we think about it, we aren't looking the best, but we know that could change, and largely due to 2 people, right? We're focusing on the draft right now because Shedeur, we've talked about Jackson Darts and all these other names, but we know the bigger name that we've kind of pushed all our chips to the table with is Aaron Rodgers. That would change how we view our quarterback room. That would change how league-wide people view our quarterback room as well. The unfortunate part is, as we sit here on the 16th of April, he still hasn't signed just yet. So we're still in this, are we panicking? Are we not panicking mode right now?
Well, when the offseason workouts start April the 21st, when you were a former player, how important is that to have close to your full roster for what it will be for the upcoming season? How important is that, Arthur?
Yeah, so it works 2 ways. If you're saying from the on-field player perspective, I'm not tripping on that because I know I got the draft coming up. I know we're going to have another version of free agency coming up. And I'm more so just trying to figure out what's my role going to be in the sense of, am I coming in this thing as a starter? We ain't worry about the scheme. Am I viewed as starter based on personnel? From a coaching standpoint, though, oh, man, the less time I have, the worse. Because now who am I creating this offense for? Right now, if you're Arthur Smith, you're creating a beautiful, just open concept of a home, but you don't have any of the particular details of, do they want an open style kitchen or do they want, a chef style kitchen? Do they want white interior or do they want wood interior? Are they rustic or are they contemporary? We don't know that because we don't know who's actually living in it, i.e. is it going to be Rodgers? Are we going to roll with Mason? Is it a draft pick? So for that side, I'm like, the longer he takes to make a decision, the longer they take to find that guy, the further you push your development in the sense of your intimate understanding of the X's and O's, the intimate understanding of, this is why I want to do this because this guy throws this pass this way every single time, or this is this guy's specific strength. So we want to lean more into these concepts. So it does matter more to the coaches, but from a player side, for me, man, when we showed up in the middle of April, it's like, if you're here, great. If not, cool. I'm making sure that I'm ready to go because I feel like, this is a big year for me as an individual. And then once you get to training camp, once you get to the preseason, and then honestly, September is when you really start to feel like these are my teammates, because there's so much with the roster going up and down during the offseason, and especially when I was playing where you're having multiple cuts and releases. It was like, man, what's the purpose of me trying to build relationships or even trying to focus in on this unit when I know half of y'all aren't even going to be here when it matters. So that's why I was like, from the player side, yeah, you're not really tripping on that part of it. But from the coach's standpoint, it does matter.
Well said. Well said. See, I thought April 9th when the Pat McAfee show was at PPG Paints Arena.
Man, come on now.
I thought in Pittsburgh, this is going to be with the fanfare. I put that in air quotes for however you view Aaron Rodgers. But I really thought that was going to be the day where, okay, we find out Aaron Rodgers is a Pittsburgh Steeler. To me, we're nearly a week away from the draft. You can't go into the first round on the Thursday night, April the 24th. You can't go into that date not knowing what you're going to do. So to me, you have to have an answer, whether it's like you're in or you're out with Rodgers. And honestly, right now, I don't know what the holdup is from him. I mean, we talked about this on the last show we talked together, but that to me is like the deadline of, okay, first round of the draft, Pittsburgh's got to know what it's doing. I can't then say, oh, we'll wait for you, Aaron, after the draft, and it'll be okay, and kumbaya and all this. No. You have to, because you have to fill out your quarterback room.
It's the most important position, man.
You have to fill out your quarterback room.
We have all of these like sides. We got great mashed potatoes. We have great vegetables. We got some cool broccoli over here. But like, what's the entree? Like, are we steak tonight? Is it seafood? Like, what? We don't know the main dish just yet, man. And I'm with you. I don't think you continue to wait. But do you see some of the reports that are coming out where it's like, well, hey, of course they have to have some type of like backdoor agreement or some type of communication, because the Steelers want to just put themselves out there like that. And I don't necessarily believe that. I don't think that there is some just wink, wink. Yeah, I'm coming here, because if you're coming here, you're coming here. What are we waiting on?
I'm with you, because
you've thrown with DK Metcalf. You flew across the country to stay for a 6-hour, visit.
It's that.
What more are we waiting on?
And then I want to take what Art Rooney is saying publicly. Art Rooney II is saying publicly at face value. And when he went into the offseason, the understanding is we're either going to try to bring back Wilson or Fields. Neither happened. In that, you're in the situation that you're in now.
And it's crazy when you think about that, because like you said, that was what he said. That was what we've only heard a couple people talk from the organization about quarterback, and all that conversation is surrounded around Russ and Fields, and for neither of those guys to still be here. And now we're in this Aaron Rodgers purgatory, so to speak. It's really from an alumni standpoint disheartening, because you're like, man, we fumbled the handling of this, but we'll see how Rodgers plays out. Now, I'd have to ask you though, because I don't know if you saw some of the reports about what Rodgers had proposed to the Vikings in terms of him willing to be, 1-year deal, make the run for the Super Bowl this year with Kevin O'Connell, but also be completely on board with being a mentor for JJ McCarthy.
It's what we've been talking. It's what we've been talking about, and I think it's very telling that Minnesota's like, no, we're good. We're just gonna roll with JJ. I think
they say don't mentor him. We don't want you to mentor him.
I think that's very telling, Arthur. I do. I do, and I've seen that that Rodgers would even take a steep discount, maybe even go for the veterans minimum to be able to do that. He hasn't played at that elite level in several years, coming off the Achilles and everything too. 41 years old right now. He'll turn 42 during the season. That's why Father Time's undefeated. The thing too I want to talk about is when the dust settles from Pittsburgh's standpoint. What do you want to happen this offseason? And then what do you think will happen this season? And so I'll go first. What I want to happen, I would love to see them wind up with Shedeur. The likelihood of that, I think, is still pretty slim. So if that's not the case, a Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck out of Louisville, someone else that you can stash and stockpile, draft and develop, and then do it all over again next offseason. That would be probably my second place choice, because I don't know how much you'd need to get up to be able to go get Shedeur, assuming he slides. What will happen? I still, I still think Rodgers.
Do you think you got to move past the Saints?
I still think Rodgers winds up in Pittsburgh. Shedeur, if the Saints. So what's the Saints' game plan then? Are they literally like a real life version of NFL tanking, which I don't think it's like the NBA in that regard. So if he slides back New Orleans, what are you doing? Is Derek Carr's shoulder injury not that serious.
Yeah, and you still have Spencer Rattler out there right now,
Come
too.
on, man. Come on, man.
Hey, talent-wise, Spencer has talent.
Yeah.
He has talent.
But he was supposed to be the dude after Baker Mayfield and Kyler and Jalen Hurts, and he wasn't at Oklahoma, did all right at South Carolina. But, like, there's already a line for Arch Manning, man. It's like, and that's assuming Arch decides to even come out next year. He could
come out. I was about to say there's no guarantee.
Come out in 27. There's already a line. Like, you can already see the teams, whether they're drafting a quarterback or need a quarterback right now, or that likely will need a quarterback a year from now. And that's why I wanted to go through that exercise with you at the top of the show of to say, okay, here are the teams drafting top 10, top 15, that it's like the guys that they have in place now aren't competing with the Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, the Joe Burrows of the world.
Well, the other part to that is this, though. Do you view Shedeur as a quarterback that is capable of competing with those guys? Because when we ask what's his ceiling, you'll hear some people throw out, I've heard, all right, he could be a Geno Smith type. He's more of a Andy Dalton type. And it's like, well, we don't view those guys as necessarily world beaters. They're still good quarterbacks, $100+ million quarterbacks will win you some games. But we think that there is a definite clear separation when we're talking about the Mahomes, the Lamars, the Allens and Burrows of the world in comparison to the guys that I referenced. So what do you feel is Shedeur's actual ceiling? Who do you think he reaches?
Could he get to that elite level? Probably not, but there's still at least an unknown there versus the quarterbacks we've talked to this point. Again, those teams that could potentially draft him, we know definitively that the answer is no.
Yeah.
So I know we fall in love with the new things with young quarterbacks and getting the time to develop and getting that game experience. But we know definitively, I could go through the list again, but Cleveland, New York, the Raiders, the Saints, those teams aren't winning the Super Bowl this year, Arthur. Like, it's not exactly a hot take or a news flash.
I'm with you. I'm with you on it, man.
I mean, like, I think he could be good to very good. Elite, probably not, but it's an unknown. With those other guys, it's a known that they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Now, I see what you are, man. I definitely see it. And if that is the perspective, then I could definitely understand why, if you're one of those teams, you're saying, yeah, go get Shedeur. I'm looking at that money part. I'm just like, yeah, y'all got a lot of money tied up already. Nobody wants to be the Falcons right now, man. Don't be the Falcons. Whatever you do, don't be the Falcons, man.
Yeah, it's what they're going to do. I mean, honestly, I've heard the reports too that they shopped Cousins around, and there's just no market for Cousins.
You know why? Because the contract you just signed him to a year ago, it has too much guarantees.
I mean, that's what the Browns are dealing with Deshaun Watson. It's not to look past
absolutely.
That. I look at some of these quarterback rooms and I'm like, man, there's a lot to be desired. And whether it's, the Raiders situation, Pete Carroll's in his 70s, probably doesn't want to start over with a rookie quarterback. I get it.
Yeah.
New York with Brian Daboll could be coaching for his job, which is why he'd probably rather go with the veteran quarterback. So, like, that's the logic there from an outsider's perspective, just looking at that from afar.
Yeah. The Saints and the Dolphins, to me, man, as we leave this convo, I'm like, Saints and Dolphins, those are the ones you really got to worry about. And if you're that concerned, then yeah, you have to really consider jumping in front of both of them. But to do that, you're asking yourself, is Shedeur worth that? Or does it make sense to go ahead and take a Jackson Dart or whoever is available at 21?
That's the thing is, I mean, he could go at 3 still. I still think it'll be Carter at 3. Yeah. We really know who the first two, barring a massive trade, Cam Ward.
Right. It's got to be Cam Ward. Travis
Hunter's going to be 1, 2. 3, I think it'll be Carter. Then the Patriots at 4 is where things start to get interesting, where it's really unknown. But
there's no way you're going to take Shedeur at, if you're New England, you got your quarterback.
Correct.
And you even traded away Joe Milton. Yeah.
So, I mean.
Vegas is interesting. I just don't like Vegas now that they did the new contract with Geno. I feel like that put too much guaranteed money to the front of it.
Live research on
Come on, man.
No, but what I want to do is, because we fall in love with what the top number is and what the agent wants, but what the actual guaranteed money is.
2 years, it should be 2 years worth of guarantees. Yeah.
pulling this up right now.
And I want to say it was like 60 plus. I think it was like 60 plus for them first 2 years.
58.5. So you're right. So it'll be 25 and 26. That's a lot. Potential out in 27. So maybe the Raiders are figuring we'll roll with Smith this year, next year's class, which should be deeper at quarterback. That's, I guess, the logic there with, I mean, that has to factor into Geno Smith's contract extension. So again,
you see what I'm saying? I'm like, because why would you do the extension if you're planning on taking quarterback there?
But then it's like, okay, and look, Ashton Jeanty, Marion Hampton, likely first-round picks.
Yeah.
You want to spend a first-round pick on a running back? Like,
not a first-round pick. We talking 6?
Yeah.
Is he Bajan? Oh, is he that type of back?
Do we look at Jeanty as that? Yeah. It goes back to the positional value. It's not. They're great prospects. I mean, in the 20, 30 years ago, heck yeah, draft it, do it, no questions. 100%. But now, especially how deep this draft is at running back, I just. But hang on. What do you want to happen with Pittsburgh, and then what do you think will happen? Is what I want to get your perspective on, Arthur.
So for me, what I want to happen is Shedeur is there at 21. We draft Shedeur. We feel great about Shedeur. And everything is beautiful. Honestly, we don't even answer Rodgers anymore. We put that to rest. We go ahead, block the number, say you waited too long. We good on that. And yes, we roll forward with Shedeur. We build around him. And everything continues to develop. And to me, it's a fairy tale ending. We're going to get us some Lombardi. We're going to have prime time out there doing his dance and everything. Yep. And in fact, we're going to book in the Sanders brothers. All right. At 21, I want Shedeur. And then my last pick in the 7, go ahead and give me Shiloh there too. All right. Just keep the brothers happy. All right. I feel like they play better when they're together. So that's the plan. All right. That's what I would love to happen. What I think happens, at some point, we're going to sign Aaron Rodgers. We'll draft Jalen Milroe and roll with it. Yeah, I think he's going to be the guy because to me, he fits the Justin Fields mind. Like when you're talking about Justin Fields as a prospect, the big running ability and not just a fast quarterback, like you actually run. You know how to utilize your explosiveness, big arm. But at the same time, has to develop consistency, has to develop all the little intangible things, right? Quarterback play. And when I think of, number one, how Mr. Rooney was talking about Justin Fields this offseason, that was one of the priorities. We heard about how Omar, Coach Tomlin, all these dudes at some point had strong desires for Justin Fields. I even look and say, well, man, can Jalen Milroe develop here? What was the knock on Justin Fields the whole time he was in Chicago? He's not consistent with his footwork. He has bad turnovers. And in terms of him reading the field, it looked like he was limited. He comes to Pittsburgh, 6 games. We see none of that. Turnovers down, looks good to the point where a lot of people were on the whole, man, we won him. We saw him get 2 years, $40 million with 20 guaranteed to go to New York off of the 6-game sample size. And who was the coaches? Arthur Smith and Coach Tomlin. Those dudes are still here. So if you can work with that, I don't see why we can't go right back to that again and try it with the Jalen Milroe while you already have a Rodgers. So that to me is kind of how I see it playing out. But I hope my first option is right. I hope it's the Shedeur. I want that one the most.
I want to live in that utopia that you live in with Shedeur. That's where I want to be. Rodgers and
we could be holding up our little watches. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm trying to be on.
Rodgers and Milroe. I feel like that Mason Rudolph gets relegated to the 3rd quarterback, and it's deja vu all over again.
But he gets $4.5 million guaranteed this time. So it makes it a little bit better.
He'd be the back.
Yeah.
Milroe, it's like, well, if you didn't keep Fields, why would you draft Milroe? But the issue I have there then is you have the same issue you had a year ago where Russell Wilson and Fields are totally different types of quarterbacks.
Very true.
Rodgers and Rudolph are pocket passers, whereas Milroe has his mobility.
Yes.
To come up with a scheme and a system of who is going to be playing. That's what you're going to devise your scheme to do. It's going to be Rodgers, Rudolph versus Milroe. I think you just draft and stash and hope that he develops if that's your approach. I just, okay, but where are you drafting Milroe then?
So this
where are you drafting Milroe then?
Because
he's invited to the draft in Green Bay.
Man, he's not going in the 1st round. We both know that. You're going to trade out of that 21st pick and you're getting him in the 2nd. We absolutely know that. He gonna sit there. I don't know why he wanted to go to the draft. We both know how this is gonna play out. He's not going in the first round. So you trade out of that 21st spot. But the reason why I say you're gonna have Rodgers is gonna be your starter this year. You know that. You don't wait this long for Rodgers unless Rodgers is your guy. The whole purpose of you bringing Milroe is because that's your long-term answer. That's the guy that you feel confident, i.e. how you felt about Justin Fields. But instead of me having to commit $10, $15 million to him to figure out can he develop, to figure out is the 6-game sample size the outlier or the norm, I'm doing it on a rookie deal. And since he's a rookie quarterback, I don't have to feel the urgency and pressure of a Justin Fields saying, hey, man, you're killing my market value right now because I'm on a 1-year deal. You're killing my value right now because I'm sitting. I need to get back out there. Milroe, you're going to have multiple years. So that first year, you get a chance to learn behind one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. Even though his skills are diminished, if Mason Rudolph threw for 3,800 yards and had 20-plus touchdowns that Rodgers had last year, we're going to be saying, hey, we're going to get ready to extend Mason Rudolph and we're going to give him a nice contract going forward next year. We both know this. That's Rodgers on the decline. So you're saying, Milroe, you're going to learn something from being around that. And now a year from there, we're going to see what you could do. We're going to cut it up and we're going to compete with somebody. Is that Mason and another draft pick? You're going to compete with something somewhere. But we like that particular skill set because the league has shown that if those guys can develop, that's the Lamar, that's the Josh, that's the ability to kill you with the arm and leg and almost manipulate what you can play coverage wise. It's intriguing.
I like the glass half full perspective. I'm going to go glass half
baby.
Empty.
Yeah.
You mentioned the arm. SEC play, 5 touchdowns, 10 interceptions for Milroe this past year. Like, has a nice deep ball, had a nice connection with the 17-year-old Brian Williams. Going to be a stud in a few years. Like,
oh, absolutely.
First, I'm fine saying first, second round pick in future drafts. I'm comfortable saying that.
I'm with you on that as well.
I don't see it with Milroe as a passer. I just don't. The intermediate, the short throws, the consistency, the accuracy, all of that. I don't see it. Now, if you're expecting him to be your second or third stringer, cool, which is what you're proposing. Financially, it does make sense of getting a rookie versus what you would have had to pay Justin Fields to be your starter for this coming season.
And you were still going to have the same questions. Would you not? You would still have the same questions too.
Well, if you still have the same questions, how old is Fields at this point? Like 27? At some point,
and it costs a lot more.
The questions are your answers. If you're still asking.
Look. We are of a similar mindset with that.
It's like a pitcher in baseball where it's just like, oh, he's got a great fastball. You know, he could throw 102. But he doesn't know how to locate, doesn't know how to paint the corners, doesn't know how to set up his secondary and his third pitches. It's the same thing where it's like he has the things that like 99% of guys don't have, but the consistency of what it actually takes to play the position.
And that's what I see with Milroe. I'm like, you're to me, the poor man's version of Fields, so I can get you at a poor man's cost. But with that cost, you get to sit longer.
Have the Steelers done that with any quarterbacks, though? Like, if we go through the last 10 years?
At the same time, this is uncharted territory. We haven't had a successful plan at quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger, so how can we credit any of the moves since Ben Roethlisberger as this is standard versus not standard? I think right now you got to go through all these different things, and that's why you saw them sign a Mitch Trubisky as soon as free agency opened. You saw them draft a Kenny Pickett in the first round. You've seen them go and get a Russell Wilson, turn around and get a Justin Fields. We've seen them at one point have Mason Rudolph get another opportunity in there, right, post Kenny Pickett. Now to the point where we've spent back around to Mason being in here. So I don't think that there is some we should give them the benefit that this is their method because they've shown that they really don't have a method. You hit on Big Ben and that lasts you for almost 2 decades. So from that standpoint, it's like, you have to show us that you actually know these are the type of guys that I want. Because right now I'm like, when have we ever sat this long and waited on a free agent in general? I know we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, but in general, when have we done that?
The timing
we want
of that,
volunteers, not hostages, right? Isn't that our saying? Volunteers, not hostages. And we are sitting here doing what? We ain't even handle L. Bell like this. So how do we say this is like the norm, or is this? It's like we've never seen him operate like that. But when you're looking for that quarterback, I think all of that kind of goes out the window until you show that you can do it again. We can point the Green Bay and say, hey, y'all have a method. We've seen you replace a great with another great, and now we're seeing you move on to another guy that looks like he has a chance to really be good too. It's a method.
I'm shocked.
Right now, with us, I'm just like, I don't see our method right now.
Yeah, I'm shocked it's taken this long for Rodgers to make a decision. I thought, okay, week into free agency, maybe 2 weeks free agency, fine. A full month later, and we still have Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson, man.
Mark, do you feel any closer to having a decision today than when we had this talk a month ago?
No, I feel like I'm repeating some of the same things. Like, go to some concerts this summer and see like a Skylar Thompson Pittsburgh Steelers jersey of that's the world we're in right now, where it's like we don't even have to be on the team,
This is what we're doing right now. This is what so I don't put a lot of stock in any of their quarterback plan. And I'm like, try everything right now. So that's why I'm like, we have not seen them draft a quarterback to stash him to sit behind a bigger name quarterback on purpose just yet, but I'm open to it, because what was the Russell Wilson and Kenny Pickett situation going to be if Russ beat Kenny out last year? If Kenny never asked to get traded, what would that situation have been? You would have had a high-end first-round draft pick sitting behind a veteran, and we would have been figuring out how weird would that situation have been as the season progressed. But we saw a transition to, okay, you trade Kenny 3 years after picking him in the first round, and now you turn around and it's like you got Russ and Fields, 2 higher name, higher pedigree guys. But now once again, it's like a complete revamp of the room. So where can we point and say there's any type of consistency with their planning right now?
There's not. Would you give Rodgers the deadline for the draft to say, hey, you need to make a decision before the start of the draft? Yeah, I think you. I don't think you could say we can wait afterwards for you to make up your mind and then to be flat-footed with the 2 guys that you got right now. I mean, and that's like even if they had a stud quarterback right now, just for depth purposes alone, I
need to know.
Yeah, you can't just have 2.
I need to know.
I don't even know who's left. Yeah. Because Flacco's gone now. I mean, who's even left? Because Flacco's gone. Drew Lock is gone. I don't even know who's even out there that you could go get outside of Rodgers.
The last rumors that I was seeing when I wanted to fully check out was when they said the Steelers could be a landing spot for Kirk Cousins. Could Dak Prescott be? I'm like, no and no. Both of them way too expensive and not enough production for the cost. And you got to go trade for both of them, dude. I'm like, no. So, the draft is where my eggs are, man. And that's why you heard my utopia. I was like, yep, come on, Shedeur.
So other than Shedeur, what about was there Jackson Dart, Shuck out of Louisville, McCord?
You heard me say Jalen Milroe. You heard how I feel about Milroe. So to me, Shedeur, Milroe, then after that, Dart. And after Dart, I like Will Howard. And after Will Howard, then I'm going Tyler Shuck. And after Shuck, then you could throw Quinn Ewers in there, I suppose, at the back end of it. Yeah. And like I said, I like Shuck. Shuck is older. And it's like, I want to see what that looks like when you're playing against other grown-ups.
I know the age is there. He played 7 college seasons. Has a bit of an injury history. Like, he's only played a full season for 1 year, mid-20s. Yeah. So he does have a lot of experience. It's so funny to be Arthur Twill. I listen to a lot of draft shows, draft coverage. And it's like, we just need to get to the event. But it's like,
you know how it is,
good
man.
Quarterback plays a lot in college, whether it's Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix this last year. I'm like, Kenny Pickett played in a lot of college. I don't hear his name mentioned in that same kind of conversation. It's not an exact science when it comes to actually evaluating the quarterbacks. If it were, a lot of teams would be better off than they are right now. And we're one of them right now in Pittsburgh. So absolutely.
Mark, man, I'm loving this, man. I could talk to you for hours, man. All right. So the final one I'm going to have for you before we completely get up out of here. Draft is a week away now. Just tell me, what are you doing at pick 21? All right. Just 21. If
Shedeur is there, take Shedeur. So if he's there, don't overthink that. Go get your guy if he's still there. At this moment in time, if the Steelers sign Rodgers, we're having a different conversation. Which defensive tackle is there? The kid out of Michigan, the kid out of Oregon, I think would be fine selections there as well.
Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon.
Those two.
I like
those
it.
two
yeah,
would be,
I like it.
Would be what I would do. But if Shedeur's there at 21 somehow, go get him. I, again, think that if Shedeur's still there at 21, I'll be shocked. I think you're going to need to trade up to go get him if that's what you want to do. My 2 cents worth.
I like it. I like it. Mark, as always, I appreciate you taking some time, man, to tap in, enjoying the show. And we're going to have to do this some more times, man. Hopefully, next time we'll have some more quarterback information.
Hey, I'm going to give you a TJ Watt piece as we sign out here, too.
Here we go. Not the piece, but like a piece. Come on, get to me, man. Something good. It's something good.
Arthur, thank you for having me as always. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, no doubt, man. Talk to you soon. All right. Bye.